seeing a lot of Derek and Jason playing off each other a lot this year, not just this year, but really since they started playing together. How did that two-man game develop, and what are some ways you try to attack teams that ends up those two in the action a lot of the time?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great two-man combo. A lot of different weapons you can get to. Jason screening, Derek handling. Derek's efficiency in pick and roll is high. JT's really effective as a screener, so I think it's just trying to take advantage of the strengths of that. And there's different two-man, three-man combos that we really like, and that's just one of them.
You guys are way up in free throw attempts this year. Anything you're doing, anything you're seeing that's allowed that to happen?
I mean, I think we're driving the ball. Actually, we're not driving the ball more than we are, but when we do drive, we're driving with more physicality. So I like that, and I think we're just kind of playing with a different level of looking to get to the rim and create those. So it's been good so far.
Joe, you said over the years you could care less how you get along with other NBA coaches. Like, if you do, you do. You don't, you don't.
Yeah.
Since winning, have you gotten, like, as coaches, more calls? Have you built any more relationships?
No, and again, like, there's a respect factor there. Like, I learn from everyone. I'm always studying them. I think there's great coaches there. But as far as off-court communication, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So, but it's more about just making sure you have a respect of the work ethic and what they do, because there's a lot of great ones out there. So I respect them so much, I try to take from all of them.
So that's like so you really haven't kind of gotten closer to anybody.
That's not close, but cordial. I mean, I'm going to reach out to a few after certain things. I've had different relationships with guys, so there's a cordiality there. But it's very important not to give away psychological tells and things that can lead to an opportunity to give away a psychological lead. So just try to be cordial without giving away those psychological components.
So you'd be like that kind of like the friendshipy thing. You think it gives an edge potentially?
It can, yeah, for sure. Yeah, no question.
I mean, people would probably love to hear
like
that.
Charles, like I told Charles when he left, like I'm not talking to you during the season. I'm not waving to you at the national anthem. Like, just not doing that. Like, you're an enemy. And so he came into the locker. He breached rules, NBA rules, and came into the assistant coach's locker room and forced me to give him a hug, which that could easily be a psychological tell that knocks you off your game competitively. So he knew what he was doing.
Was it nice to hug him at least?
No.
Joe, going through training camp and implementing all the stuff you want to implement, and then the season starts and it's just a grind of every other night, back-to-backs. How does that impact the teaching, the habit building, and all of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think once you start to see what sticks and what slips, you have to try to look at the things that you could fix with a shoot-around, with the film session. But you're making a list of, like, here's what we have to fix immediately, here's what we have to wait until the next stretch of practice or shoot-arounds to where we can clean up these things. And so you're just trying to do it through shoot-arounds, through film as much as you can. And even in the game sometimes you're trying to adjust to things to clean those things up. So today was, yeah.
I'm sorry. So does that make this stretch here where you do get a few practices that much more important?
Yeah, absolutely, because you're working on the things that you couldn't necessarily fix on an every other day schedule, to where it's like, hey, we can hone on these 3 things. If we had a list of 10 things we wanted to get done over the next 3 practices, how do we make sure we get those done?
Can you share any of the stuff that's on the list?
No, absolutely not.
What have you seen from Baylor so far with Maine, and what are you hoping you can accomplish in this time of it?
One, I think just I think the hardest thing for young guys is having an understanding of playing every night. I think that's the thing that is underestimated for younger players is, the vets and the guys, the Jasons, the Jalen's, Drews, Al's, Derek's, those guys. You have to bring it every night. It's not just once a week or something like that. So getting on the G League schedule, having to perform every single night, having to compete every single night, just getting those reps of, like, I did it last night, I got to do it again. And that can be really hard. So just good to see him do that, and then obviously just continue to execute the things on both ends of the floor that are important for Celtic basketball.
How much closer is Kristaps looking to being back to his playing form?
He's getting there.
Has his involvement ramped up a little bit in these practices that you guys are able to find in the season?
Yeah, he's been able to do some stuff on the court, some reads versus the coaches, still some up and down work, 5-on-0 versus the coaches there, so he's getting there.
You brought Peyton into the game with 1.1 seconds left the other night in one of the quarters. When did you start to realize that his end of quarters talent could be a weapon for you guys? When did you decide to kind of embrace that, harness it, and go to him in those moments?
I would say just his willingness to, one is speed. There was it last year or 2 years ago at Cleveland where we challenged the play, I think it was 104. We challenged the play, lost it, so that was our timeout at the end of the game, and then we put him in and he went, did he go coast to coast and either made the layup or got fouled? And so it was 2 years, my first year at Cleveland, when we used the challenge to go full court instead of advancing it. And he got us in that situation. You could tell that his speed was going to be a weapon in those full court situations. And then his willingness to want to shoot those. It just gives us a weapon. And now you see teams on that one particular clip, they extended, they brought 2 up and then allowed us to throw a long pass in a one-on-one situation. So the threat of that even creates mismatches for us in the full court. But I'd say Cleveland 2 years ago was the first one that popped out for me.